Hello again everybody and welcome to another Beyond All Reason video. Today we have another of the qualifying matches for the most recent tournament, which is a 2v2 on Comic Catcher Remake. Now we have very similar nations on both teams here, so clearly both of these players know each other, probably on comms with each other and discussing this rather than some of the teams here just kind of ad hoc match together, not necessarily talking to each other. So we'll see what that sort of coordination brings in this game. As we zoom in here, we see Aullton on the left, surprisingly going for a slightly different than traditional spawn. Most normal people start here and then walk to this mechs below, build the factory there, but Aullton is deciding to go north instead. To be fair, both very similar distance, so not really that big a deal, and because he has Commander Zod here below holding that kind of middle position, it makes sense in a way to not have both factories pushing along the same line. Now on the right here we have Team BDI. And on the top side, we have Archerspk, who has gone Cortex Vehicles. And below them, they have Stephenloky, who is also Cortex Vehicles. Now, Stephen is a bit low on the metal income here to be going vehicles on just 2 metal points. And you could say the same actually here for Archer. Now, you're asking why? Why is that an issue? Well, for those that aren't aware, vehicles obviously use a substantial amount more metal than bots do. Now, vehicles is still the right choice on this map because there is a lot of metal points and all of them have 2.3. But normally you would get the third metal extractor first before going the factory. Now, you can see that all the users have out at the moment is scouts, the cheapest of the units available, which kind of pays for them while they're getting a bit of economy out. See, there is an incisor down here that's covering that expansion. And just looking between the teams here, we have our all Cortex matchup today. Is proving to be more and more common. And Stephen done a great job here at getting behind this solar power so that the laser tower can't shoot. Unfortunately, he should have prioritized shooting the metal extractor, then went for the solar, because the death of the solar has managed to kill his scouts. Now, as we mentioned before on this map, there is no wind, so we're going to see all solars being built, which is more metal hungry. Now, as we're zoomed out here in these early stages, you don't tend to see too much happening. A bit of early raiding going on, but not really even much of that happening here. I'm expecting Stephen to kind of progress in this sort of a manner. He's already got an engineer to the south here that's going to push along there. Archer, we can see himself, his commander is already pushed really far forward here. Actually, the furthest forward commander, I would very much likely see him going to here if he chose to. But it does look like with his Q, he's actually not going to expand that far. And Aullton, again, should be doing the same here. But in terms of expansion, the right team, the yellow and red players, BDI, are definitely doing better when it comes to expansion. We can see that Aullton, yes, has got an engineer going up here with the plans to move along the top. But Archer has done the same thing. But on the opposite side, Stephen already has an engineer going out. And although Zod does have that, he's only just leaving his base with those two. So the right team currently in a stronger position here. Although saying that, we are seeing some good harass. I zoomed out a bit too far then. Good harass here from Aullton, and also about to take out another metal extractor on the north here as well. And all the expansion that Archer has done has been completely taken out. and neither of those forces mopped up there. And well done, Archer, managing to take out the metal extractor and the laser tower that was covering that position, but Archer decided to fall back instead. Both comms of Team Green and Blue are pushing down towards that location in the middle now, with Archer on his own. Stephen being a bit slow off the mark here to move forward. Stephen with a huge amount of metal, just sat doing nothing. Has no energy being built. What are you doing, Stephen? Now deciding to start building it. He's got 2 engineers expanding, but has no economy being built. It's a very rookie mistake. You basically should always have your maybe 2nd engineer, or if not, the 3rd engineer building economy for your base, as you can see as we move up here. Archer has 2 already on the go. He could have potentially helped his team out here by just quickly gifting him one, so Stephen could make better use of his resources that he's got. Meanwhile, Aullton started building a windmill there and then remembered, oh yeah, wind's rubbish. Maybe let's not do that. We're seeing a little bit of a slowdown here, a break, as we check out Zod's base here, building a 2nd construction turret and going into brutes. Pretty good use of forces there. Incisors not really able to do much at the moment. Archer just slowly building up a wall of laser towers. Unfortunately, Archer just not able to expand at all here. You could argue right now Archer has too many units in his base, engineers. Should get these 2 on that construction turret. Get that construction turret done and then send those engineers out. He's wasting so much time right now. Meanwhile, on the bottom, Stephen losing a engineer, about to lose a 2nd, when I say engineer, sorry, I mean construction vehicle, about to lose a 2nd construction vehicle potentially. And Stephen being forced a bit further back than he was intending to. Zod done a good job at kind of blocking Stephen from getting access to the middle of the map there. And Stephen with a severe lack of units right now. And with Zod starting to produce actual main assault tanks here, they're going to be able to break through this very spread out line of incisors. We see equal numbers here at the top from Archer and Aullton. No units in the middle here at all, just LLTs and that's it. And Archer continuing to just build a line of LLTs. Right now, he is also stalling energy. Because he's building an advanced solar. That will explain it. If he can hold the line, it's not a bad idea, but he is heavily stalling energy right now. He maybe needs to stop building, which he has literally just paused his factory to give him a bit of energy. Meanwhile, these assault tanks, as we see, pushing through along the bottom. And Stephen has no units to stop that. And this push, if not contested, is just going to go right through. He's desperately sending some incisors around, but doesn't want to lose everything. Stephen almost loses his commander there to a triple LLT. And unfortunately for Stephen, Zod is through into the back line. And this is a lot of open metal extractors that he is going to be able to run by and take out very easily here. These won't survive forever. He definitely needs to get some more units built. Zod actually, interestingly, microing those there. I would have personally just run them right by. And there's a command here for set target. You should set target on these as you go. Oh, Zod's commander, pretty low health there. And then you could have got the metal extractor. Zod made a mistake on this bottom corner now, and he's actually not going to get much for that attack. That was a big mistake on Zod. He did make a hole at the north. We see an attack as well. Manages to get held off by Archer's comm and those LLTs and incisors. However, there is a hole as two of these brutes are gotten through. They should get cleared up fairly quickly if Stephen is paying attention and moving his units that he spawned to go and deal with that. Archer has also reacted, and those units should get mopped up fairly easily. These brutes still in the corner, just getting 3 kills right now. But this was a wasted attack. Zod making a mistake here. He had an opportunity to take out 2 additional mexes. Maybe could have continued to do a run by there. Meanwhile, Green makes a push through in the middle, taking out laser towers again. Laser towers are good early game, but brutes make very short work of them. So they're not really good on this sort of map. Not to build too many. As you can see there, Free just absolutely tanked it easily. And now there's a big hole. More units are pouring through the hole. Aullton gets a D-gun off on some units here, trying to make more of a hole for his units to pass through. Red and blue not really making much of a move here. Move has a substantial amount of forces here though, and is now trying to clear up some of this middle between him and Aullton. And now Archer is on the back foot, having to fall back with all of his forces. The commander is a bit exposed right now as well. One of these very, very heavily injured brutes manages to get through and is going to get some economy damage done. But this is a very nice push here, combined push, but Stephen has forces coming up from below. Gonna get some flanking damage here on the forces of Aullton and Zod. Aullton's commander in a very difficult spot here. Very exposed. Archer potentially in risky position if they force it up. But Aullton's commander, very low health, 19% health. He's trying to keep rage. Stephen's commander below, actually mopping up the forces of Zod. Aullton's commander now left exposed. 17% health, 10% health, 2. And Aullton's commander gets destroyed. Air coming out from Zod. And that may quickly turn the tide if it doesn't get mopped up by any form of air defense. Stephen desperately going to try and move his forces back to cover a single brute left from the initial attack. And the yellow and red team may be in a very strong position here, but Stephen needs to desperately run forces back to his base here to try and get some defense in as quick as he can. Archer managing to get the reclaim, wasting some of the metal, I believe. If not, it's going to his teammate, but he needs to use it desperately, super quick, gets all the commander wreck. But Stephen in a tough spot. A huge amount of forces here have been pushed through into his base behind the lines. His commander is not in position to defend. But one commander down, 1 to go. Can the red team of Archer and Stephen manage to pull this back? He needs something to deal with those shurikens. Do see some missile trucks out. And they will make short work of the shurikens. If they get in range, they're not currently moving close enough. And we see here as well, Aullton trying to prioritize getting Stephen out of the game. Which makes sense. They're the closest to that base. Desperately needs to move these forces up to defend Stephen. Archer doing a great job, though, at trying to get flanking damage on the units of Zod and Aullton here, coming in from above, hoping that Stephen will come in and get a different angle of attack. There's a lot of reclaim here now, though. If they can get control of that reclaim, that's a big amount of metal to just leave on the ground right next to the enemy's base. Unfortunately, I don't think Stephen has what it takes to push back in here. He doesn't have enough air defense units to kind of support his attack right now. Kind of just, unfortunately, gifting metal to Zod. Some missile trucks out with the army of Archer there. Hopefully trying to rescue the forces of Stephen. But there is a big hole on that bottom side of Stephen's base. And surprisingly, both teams just kind of sending a massive tanks into the same spot. Just want to quickly get a thing here. There is a 5.6k metal in that middle section with an additional 1.4k metal literally outside of Stephen's base. They need to make a bit more of a control over this reclaim field. They are getting there. And I would say the initiative has switched back to Stephen and Archer. As long as they can keep these shurikens from doing too much, which they are starting to not really do much anymore. But we do see a Tech 2 tier transition from Zod. No Tech 2 yet from any other player. This will be the first Tech 2 we see. This could turn it back into Zod's and Aullton's favor. When it comes to map control, Aullton and Zod are definitely in control here. They have a lot more when it comes to that, but Reclaim is going to Stephen and Archer. And as we quickly get a second here to check the stats before much goes on. Metal produced 50k for Team Archer and Stephen. And Zod and Aullton is 64k. And not much in the way of metal excess, so that's good. Energy is 200k extra for blue team. So blue team is in the lead economy-wise. But it's just a matter of time. This 5.6k reclaim is going to Archer. And we are seeing the units definitely going more and more on the side of red team here. Definitely able to hold on to units for a longer period of time. But that is due to that Tech 2 transition. And we do see a Tech 2 engineer being gifted here to his teammate. That's going to save Aullton from having to build his own. And a good push in the middle here. Trying to force them off a bit of that reclaim field. Although saying that, over half of it has been gobbled up already. And Archer getting most of the reclaim field to the south as well. Surprisingly, we aren't seeing more in the way of like artilleries instead. It's literally just brutes and pounders. And Archer in a bit of a tough spot here. Archer losing ground. Needs to prioritize the reclaim field, getting gobbled up from all the units that he's lost. Another 2k metal there. Unfortunately, Stephen and Archer have been on the defensive the entire game. Not really able to make too much of an impact here. As we say that, we do see a slow push along the top here from Archer. However, because he has it on fight move, they are just going to like go into range, shoot, and then just kind of stay there until they kill the thing. What might have been more useful here would be a run by, trying to get into the back of the economy here, get some energy damage, rather than just slowly taking it away. But that does require micro, which players might not have at this point in time. Now, Stephen again having a hole created right outside of his base here. Tech 2 now on the field, starting to come into Stephen's base here. 3 Tech 2 tanks, Tigers, just outside of his base. Surprisingly, actually turning around. They see the commander, and they start going on it. Stephen does not have the energy currently for a D-gun. Now manages to get enough. He's going to try and go in, get the D-gun. This is a bit risky. Not able to close the range just yet as a 4th and 5th Tiger appear. And this is where they know they need to get Tech 2 up as soon as possible, which they have not started yet. We now see artillery being produced, but it's a little too late. Stephen trying to use the terrain a little bit there to be able to get closer. But Archer in a tough spot here as the Tech 2 tanks come up from below and Tech 1 push from Aullton coming in front of him. He's trying to get all this reclaim, but he's now left without any units, and he's going to slowly back up whilst getting hit here. Gets a single tank on a D-gun, but this Tech 2 push is not going to be stopped by anything, and at the same time, Aullton does a great push through on that north side as well. It's not looking good for Team BDI here. These Tigers doing a great job at just causing as much damage as possible. But Archer doing a great job at holding on for as long as possible here. Could have degunned, but missed the opportunity there. And the team on the right just can't keep up, losing too much of their economy over a long period of time. The metal that they had, they invested into units, but lost. Probably would have been worth maybe investing into Tech 2 with that much there, but they needed the units. And now, unfortunately, with Tech 2 metal extractors up and running, the stream of tanks coming into Archer's base is too much. Stephen trying to get some D-guns off on the Tigers on the south. Manages to take 2 out, but his commander is going to die momentarily here. Manages to actually cloak and get out, which is surprising. But we will see... Oh, actually, the reclaim there on the construction turrets actually stops too much damage from being dealt. And the green tanks actually get held up here. Archer using his D-gun very well. Aullton not paying attention, and what could have been a killing blow ends up not being a killing blow. One Tiger left, slowly just getting all of the energy converters that have been built. Not much left of it right now. And those energy converters go up so quickly. But there's so many more Tigers coming. And unfortunately, Stephen has nothing left. Neither player has even started a Tech 2 transition. Even though... Well, actually, I was about to say even though they've got a lot of extra metal, but they don't. As we see Commander Zod here currently almost accessing so much metal. Yeah, they didn't waste, so that's good. They're desperately trying to hold on here, but this tank push along the bottom is going to be the end for Stephen and his base. Very well fought. Zod managed to just hold the line, cause enough damage to the economy on the bottom side there, and then just held it and teched up. And by doing that and gifting to his teammate Aullton, who again was also raiding Archer quite a lot, managed to just outlast them and out-tech them. And because of this sheer economy advantage here, we see the blue team has a metal production of around 230, whereas red and yellow have 40. Now there is no coming back from this. But sometimes it's nice just to watch the explosions. So what could Archer and Stephen have done different? Well, that is a good question. They invested too much in energy converters. When you look at both teams, this left team has no energy converters at all. And too much into static defenses. Stephen especially. Not Stephen, sorry. Archer especially invested way too much into laser towers. Which if he invested into buildings like, you know, his energy instead, or, you know, investing into units, it could have been a very different game. Fight moving your tanks along the top meant that, you know, you just had static units taking damage for no reason when you could have pushed through and got a lot more. You didn't see that happening for the other team, and they were just able to hold the advantage. Constant run-throughs, getting around the back, forcing your units to, you know, redirect and making you waste time. And that's the key thing, is making your units take longer to get anywhere. And Zod being the MVP here, definitely doing enough here to kind of carry his team. Now, I don't know what their plans are here, but they're not going to really survive for very much longer. Technically, they only have to kill one commander to win. Which technically would be possible, but I somehow don't see this happening. Stephen trying to build enough energy to at least D-gun. Dip, duck, dive, and dodge in. Takes out 2 Tigers, 4 Tigers, 5 tigers and survives with 155 health. Not for much longer. As he runs for the hills with a mere 4%, 5% health. And the same could be said for Archer with only 19% health left. No energy. He is not going to be able to cloak or D-gun. He will be able to cloak if he just stands still. And no energy. He doesn't have enough energy to permanently cloak. So it's just not going to work. But, yeah, what else could they have done? As soon as they saw Tech 2 on the field, they desperately needed to transition to Tech 2 themselves. There was no way they were going to be able to win with just Tech 1. And that was their key mistake. And because of that, they were not able to hold up against the Tech 2 army of Zod, let alone the economy difference. So, this game goes to Commander Zod and Aullton. Well played, both teams. It's difficult to come into a tournament and, you know, face against people that you have no idea what they are, and especially at the OS disadvantage of Team BDI here. Thank you all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this one. As mentioned in the past, someone wanted the statistics screen up at the end, so there you go. Feel free to pause this. If you like this sort of content, feel free to, you know, pop a comment, pop a subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time.